Yo, what is going on, guys? Got an absolutely hilarious video for you here today, as always, of two friends going out, hitting up the clubs, hitting up the bars, hoping to be approached by men, only to be hit with reality. Now, this is obviously a huge problem for modern women in today's society, guys. Men are not approaching them, men are not making the moves. And I am all for it. I think it's absolutely hilarious. We have a bunch of clips that we're going to be going over here today. So let's jump right into it. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Let's take a listen.
I cannot believe we're not getting any attention tonight. I cannot believe a single man has not talked to us tonight. So I was just at the gas station, and this guy was like, "Oh, let me pump your gas for you. A pretty lady shouldn't be pumping her own gas." And I'm like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. It's also $60 premium to fill up my BMW."
So y'all remember the other day on live and we were talking about why don't men approach women anymore? It's because their expectations are unrealistic.
Y'all, why do I feel like we are not making the men beg as much as we need to? I mean, I feel like my girls are not standing up. I feel like we're forgetting that we're the prize.
They thought going out would solve their problem when it comes to not getting approached, but the reality presented something else.
I have a question here for the ladies, okay? If you are such a prize as you claim to be, then why are the men not approaching you? Why are they not talking to you? Why are they not, I don't know, trying to get a relationship out of you? And the reason for that is because men don't care to do this stuff anymore. It is not worth it for men to do. Back in the day, guys, you would be an average guy. You'd have a bit of humor about you, for example, and you'd be able to go out there, talk with some women, impress a few, and things would go from there. But nowadays, the way approaching women works is like, if you're not super attractive, they don't give a damn. They'll just treat you like dirt. They'll completely ignore you, turn the other way, make fun of you, immediately leave, and so on. I find these clips to be very funny, guys, because again, also, on top of that, this is exactly what the women asked for, by the way. They asked for men not to approach them, and now that we're listening, apparently it's a problem.
Not standing up. I feel like we're forgetting that we're the prize.
They thought going out would solve their problem when it comes to not getting approached, but the reality presented something else. They were shocked that no man showed any interest in talking to them all night. It made them confused, and they literally didn't understand the reason why guys didn't speak with them.
So I was just at the gas station and this guy was like, "Oh, let me pump your gas for you. A pretty lady shouldn't be pumping her own gas." And I'm like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. It's also $60 premium to fill up."
Don't you just love how they jump straight to trying to get money out of men, by the way? All of these women who are so strong, so independent, they don't need no man. And it's like, if a dude interacts with them, the first thing they try and do is extract resources from that particular guy. Gee, I wonder why dudes don't talk to you. I wonder why they're not pursuing relationships with you and they're only having bedroom fun with you. You guys ever notice that all of the videos from modern women these days, all of their grievances with dating, all center around the fact that the men that they want don't want anything to do with them on a commitment-based level? You guys ever notice that? I have. I find it very damn funny. I think a lot of guys have also realized this, and they're like, you know what? I'm just going to let the Chads handle it. I'm just going to let the super attractive guys go out there and ruin these women's lives because I don't want them. I don't think the average man is interested in talking to women like this, especially after they realize what kind of personality you have.
My BMW. And he's like, oh, no. I wasn't trying to pay for your gas. I just wanted to pump it for you. Like, go away. Ladies, if you want a man to leave you alone, bring up money. Bring up money. I swear to God, he was out of there.
That was a smart move. He got a better use for his time and money.
He didn't even pump my gas, all right?
Oh no, he immediately left when he realized what an awful human being you were? That's crazy. Guys, I will say this, at least the woman is absolutely right in this video. As soon as you start to bring up money, if you approach a woman and the first thing that's out of her mouth is trying to extract resources from you, you can be damn well sure that men are not going to want to talk to you. I think she's 100% spot on with that. I mean, maybe there'll be simps who will continue to pursue you, but a lot of guys, particularly men with self-respect, they will immediately leave. Like this dude, right? They will just stop what they're doing. This guy's not going to pump your gas because he knows what kind of person you are. What's the point of doing something for somebody like this who takes that one step further and just immediately tries to extract things from you? And unfortunately, guys, this really is the attitude of a lot of modern women. They go, oh, he's giving me attention. What can I get from that attention? What kind of reward can I receive? Can I get money out of him? Can I get more free attention? Can I get a follower on Instagram who I don't have to follow back that raises my social status? And so on. It's not about taking the interaction as it is or caring about the man in any capacity. Granted, these women don't have to care about a stranger, okay? I'm not saying that they do. But it's never actually about the situation at hand. It always immediately goes to, okay, I'm not attracted to this guy, so what can I use him for? You know, what kind of use does this man have for me? If none, then I don't want him.
And if you want a female to leave you alone, take away money.
Good point.
Sweetie, he didn't even know you and didn't want you. He was just raised right and was offering to pump your gas. Stop feeling entitled. She ain't lying. If the first thing you say to me is about me spending my money on you, I'm definitely walking away. Even if I had it, I won't pay for it.
I think that's so true. Going back to this comment, okay, the one where the dude was like, even if I had the money, I'm not spending it on you. And this is funny because you frequently see women be like, you know, oh, he's just broke. If you're just broke, just say that. But the truth of the matter is there are a lot of wealthy men out there. And you know what the wealthy men are going to do? They're going to leave you even faster. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you're just trying to use him for his resources. He's going to dip out of there so damn quickly. And the women don't even realize, you know, like after all that chasing money, you would think that they would respect the dudes who potentially have some resources. But no, they just assume that he has no resources because he doesn't want to pay for entitled women. There are plenty of dudes out there, guys, who, you know, they've been working for many years. They've saved up. Okay, they've got their house and things like this. They're very stable, or you know, quite frankly, they've got a lot of money. And what's going to happen is these guys are going to look at these women and they're going to go, oh, hell no. You know what? They're going to go to like the Philippines or some country that's, you know, not part of the Western world. And they're going to find a woman who's not so materialistic, or at least try to. Now, a lot of these countries are full of women who will try to scam you. Obviously, there's bad women everywhere you go. But dudes are going to try their odds with non-Western women. And I can't say I blame them, guys, because a lot of the women over here are not the best, to be honest with you. Not great choices for long-term relationships, I'll put it that way. Let's keep going.
It's ironic, as she will likely be the first to make another video complaining that men no longer approach her.
Of course, yeah.
She had a guy who was just trying to be nice, offering his help, yet she thought it would be a good idea to ask him to pay for her fuel. This experience might change his perspective when it comes to helping others, as he now sees how high the expectations can be these days.
I mean, of course, okay? Like, if you're a guy and you're trying to do something kind, or you're trying to, you know, have an interaction with a woman, maybe you're interested in her and things like this, what's going to happen if you're treated in a bad way, you know, enough times, the dudes are just going to stop altogether. Okay, so like I heard some woman the other day complaining about how dudes no longer open doors for her. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of guys who open doors for women, you know, the women just kind of scowl at them. They don't say anything. There's no thank you. There's no gratitude. Even if there's no romantic interest from the men, from the women, excuse me. No, sorry, from the men. And they do these sorts of things. The women, they don't understand. Like they just treat you terribly anyway a lot of the time. So dudes just stop opening doors. You know, they stop doing the kind gestures. They stop hitting on the women. They stop the chivalry. And apparently, by the way, we're the problem for doing this. It's not the fact that women treated you terribly. It's the fact that, you know, yeah, it is what it is. It's absolutely ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. But you know what? I don't feel sorry for these women, because these are the types of girls who end up to be like 35, single, alone with cats and everything like this. And it's quite funny. So it is what it is.
It seems like simply being kind and helpful is no longer enough. Now, it seems that bringing financial support has become an expectation for strangers.
Yep.
What's more intriguing is that she didn't find it awkward at all to ask a stranger to cover her car's fuel. She might consider other things embarrassing, yet somehow not this. If managing car expenses is a struggle, it might be wiser to rely on public transportation rather than stretching finances further with a car. The moment she mentioned her BMW was particularly amusing. She seemed to be trying to flex with a car that she might be struggling to afford, while also making a video about a stranger who chose not to pay for her gas. It's hard to make sense of that.
I think a lot of these women are terrible at managing their money. I wouldn't be surprised if they have loans out on things like their cars. I haven't looked into loan statistics, but I guarantee you it's very damn high. The amount of people who are like borrowing money to get out cars and things like this so that they can appear a certain way. I would argue those statistics are probably very high. I haven't seen them, but I would assume they're very high. Because women like this don't exactly strike me as the most intelligent, money conscientious bunch of all. I think a lot of these girls, particularly the ones on TikTok, are completely terrible with finances. And if they're married, probably their husbands can attest. Now, I hope these women aren't married, because I would feel sorry for the husbands, but in a lot of these situations, I actually don't believe they're good with their money. I think a lot of them don't actually own the things that they supposedly own, or if they do, they're in debt for them. So of course she's out here begging for money, but she'll say it's because she's, looking for an economically attractive man or whatever, it's what men are supposed to do. But let's be real about it, guys. A lot of these women are straight up struggling, and so they try and extract resources from men for that reason,
Interestingly, she made a valid point by advising women to ask men for money to keep them at a distance, as it's true that most men wouldn't continue pursuing someone who begins with such requests. In the end, the guy made a smart choice by walking away from the situation.
So y'all remember the other day on Live and we were talking about why don't men approach women anymore? A lot of y'all felt like it's because men are afraid of rejection, but I don't think that's the case. When I'm really looking at everything on social media and just talking to people that I know that are single, it's because their expectations are unrealistic. Like, you want this man to make $200K a year. You want him to pay your rent on the first date. If he approaches you in a grocery store or any type of retail facility, you want him to pay for your order or your purchase. And
you know what the real kicking the balls is, guys? Okay, this isn't even the worst part about this. Okay, it's the entitlement that these women have. Obviously, it's terrible. It's absolutely crazy. But you know what's even stupider than this whole thing here? The expectations that modern women have that you do for them. What's even crazier and more stupid than that is the fact that the men that they are actually attracted to have to do none of this. You think that Chad has to buy her groceries? You think that really attractive guy she swiped on the dating applications, you think that he has to take her to dinner or pay for her gas or whatever? He doesn't. He doesn't. It's always the dudes who they are not highly physically attracted to that have to go through all of the loops and all of the nonsense, and apparently in order to get her to like him, to prove himself. But the fact of the matter is, guys, is men who are attractive to women don't need to prove themselves at all. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not interested in being used as a portable ATM. I'm not interested in being used for my resources or whatever the case may be. No, thank you. And I don't think a lot of guys are the same way. I think they're going to try and get as close as possible to women who actually value and care about them. And if that means ditching Western women, not approaching them, then so be it, to be honest. And I don't blame men for doing this whatsoever, but that is the stupidest part about this whole thing, is not only do they have these list of demands, but the funny part about it is it only applies to you. You see what I'm saying? Like, they can't even be consistent with their stupidity. Crazy.
he doesn't even know you. Like, I don't know. To me, these things are super unrealistic. And although it's a nice gesture to make a purchase on approach, I don't think that is necessary. And
well said. The expectations are getting out of control, making the dating scene more challenging.
And furthermore, the other women are just super simple, super easy, super masculine. And when I come across, I feel like a woman that's living in her femininity and a woman that has regular, normal expectations, they don't even know what to do anymore.
Men have answered this question so much that it should pop up on Google. Rent on the first date. A lot of guys are choosing to focus on minding their own business, mainly because they want to avoid extra expenses. The dating dynamic is no longer the same as it used to be years ago. Currently, it's all about how much he's willing to spend, and this sends a clear message. It seems like unless a guy is ready to dig his bank account, things might not go as planned. Many guys would prefer to avoid this reality altogether. The impact of unrealistic expectations on the dating scene can't be overlooked. Many men are essentially becoming invisible simply because they don't meet these unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, and you know what? All of these dudes who become invisible, apparently it's a problem if we don't approach them. But what ends up happening, guys, is all of this entitlement, it comes from the fact that, number one, they're growing up in broken families. They don't respect men because men aren't in the picture. They've got no father figure a lot of the time. You can thank things like divorce and family law courts for that one. But hey, moving on from there, a lot of the women have this level of entitlement, and average men are invisible because of the amount of attention and validation and invitations and opportunities they get on applications like Instagram. People don't seem to understand. Whenever I say this, like, you'll always have these girls lose their minds, or these dudes who are clueless lose their minds. Instagram is a dating application, guys. It absolutely is. Now, it might not strictly be advertised as that, but it can certainly function as one. And let me tell you something, for women, it certainly does. But for women and top tier men, Instagram effectively functions as a dating application. So what happens is women go on these apps, they get all this attention, they get these invitations. Oh, are you going to be out tonight? Or, you know, they start replying to each other's stories. And this is how hookups are formed these days, guys. This is how women get their high levels of entitlement, is because they receive attention on these social media apps, even if they don't deserve it. Like, so many women who are downright psycho, right? To use the term liberally here. Actually, no, it's not even that liberal, man. They're straight up psychos. The women who are psycho, they still get attention and validation from dudes on these apps. So they walk around and they think that they're the best thing ever. Now, reality hits them real damn hard when in reality men don't want to have relationships with them. That is the funniest part about this content, guys, is all the entitlement, all of the I don't need no man, only to end up at 40 years of age with no kids, no eggs, right? And a bunch of cats. Now, me personally, guys, I'm not a fan of cats. If you're a long-term viewer of this channel, I don't like cats. But these women, they better get used to liking them, because that's what they're going to have for a family. I'll tell you that. Let's continue.
We are already aware of the high likelihood of being turned down over these standards. Social media has also encouraged people to adopt certain attitudes they see online. While some ideas may work well online, they can backfire when put into practice, making dating life even more challenging for those who cling to such unrealistic ideals. Interestingly, the fear of rejection is not even the biggest reason men hesitate to approach. We know rejection is part of the dating process. However, many are discouraged by women who expect them to start spending money before they even know each other.
I mean, also, with the whole rejection thing, is, okay, you're expecting men to take on all of the risk. You know, they have to risk the rejection, the social humiliation, going through this particular process, investing in this process. And what do they get out of it? They get women like the ones presented at the start of the video. Like, if you're going to tell me that that's a good trade, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to disagree with you. It's not a good trade. It's absolutely stupid, man. It's like you're trying to convince men to go out here and do these things, and your reasoning is, well, you should because you're a man. You need to open your wallet because you're a man. You need to deal with rejection because you're a man. And there's no talk of anything that you might get out of the interaction, right? And if you start to have discussions about what men want, then apparently you don't like women, you know, or you're all about that mahogany, you know, misogyny. Even if you're someone who likes women, by the way, you just want it to be worth it. It's, you know, you're going to get labeled all sorts of insults and such if you start to talk about the things that men might want in relationships. Ridiculous.
First thought that comes to a guy's mind when approaching a woman isn't about the money he'll spend. It's about the connection they might build. So, when she leads with financial expectations, it can certainly influence his perspective on dating her.
I cannot believe we're not getting any attention tonight. I cannot believe a single man has not talked to us tonight.
Why are they waiting to be approached when they could make the first move themselves? Most guys genuinely wouldn't mind being approached. so they shouldn't have no problem making the first move. And the
You know, I've actually thought about this particular thing quite a lot on the channel because I used to have this same perspective, but I think over time my perspective has really changed on women approaching men. I think the type of women to approach dudes are not the ones that you want, because by the time a woman has to quite literally approach men in order to get one, you already know that things are not looking good for that woman. You see what I'm saying? Like, women who are normal, who are healthy, and who are feminine don't have literally no need to approach men whatsoever. It's always the women who are incredibly masculine, absolutely massive headaches, and so on. These are the women who end up having to approach dudes and then crying when Chad won't accept them. Me personally, guys, I don't think, you know, a woman coming up to me and approaching me, unfortunately, the first thing that comes to my mind these days is like, you know, am I being recorded, or is this some kind of joke or something like that? And I don't consider myself as someone who's unattractive, guys, but that's really kind of where we're at in society right now, is like, when women approach you, it's almost like, okay, what's the agenda? You know, like, what's going on here? Why am I being approached? Because usually there's a reason for it, and usually the reason isn't altogether positive for most men, I would say.
The worst outcome is usually just a polite rejection. By taking the initiative, women might actually be surprised at how well their confidence is received. Many of us...
And don't get it twisted, guys. I think a lot of guys would appreciate this. But just over the years, I have noticed that the type of women to do this behavior are not necessarily the ones you want. And also the women who have this level of confidence to do such a thing, usually they have the confidence to do a lot of other things with other men. You see what I'm saying?
Us are simply out to enjoy time with friends, not necessarily looking for a special connection. In that setting, an approach would be a refreshing surprise rather than an expectation. The dating scene has shifted significantly over time, and those spontaneous interactions that used to happen more frequently have become less common. Now, many men focus on personal growth and other goals, channeling their energy in ways that support their future rather than seeking random encounters, especially in social settings. On top of this, the dating landscape is increasingly confusing. While some women express disappointment that men are no longer showing interest or taking the first step, others openly ask men to stop approaching them.
Yeah, okay, so let me just explain this really quick and make this super clear, because this confuses a lot of guys. Now, I know a lot of guys who are watching my videos, they don't particularly give a damn. They've already checked out. But for the people who are, you know, not checked out, let me just explain this really quick, or maybe you don't understand it. Women want the attractive men to approach them. They do not want the unattractive men to approach them. Now, unattractive men can give them attention on social media. That's acceptable. But a lot of them will view it as some sort of personal insult if they're approached by a guy who they perceive to be out of their league. It's not so much that women have an issue that men are walking away. It's mostly that the attractive men are walking away, and the dudes who represent resources also are walking away. That's the real problem. It's not because, you know, oftentimes they actually give a damn about the particular man. No, nothing such like that usually. What they're really complaining about most of the time is that Chad doesn't approach them and Chad doesn't ask them out on dinner dates. And let's be real about it, they don't really have any reason to. Even the average guy has absolutely no reason to do that. Let's continue.
This creates a confusing environment where men may feel uncertain about whether to take initiative or step back. A straightforward approach could simplify dating for everyone involved.
Y'all, why do I feel like we are not making the men beg as much as we need to? I mean, I feel like my girls are not standing up. I feel like we're forgetting that we're the prize. I am the win here. Like, you need to be chasing me. I have been seeing women chase men. Why are we chasing men? We are the prize. They win when they get us. They need to be begging for us. Does that make sense? I am just tired of seeing my sisters going out sad behind some of these men, child. We are the prize. We are the win. They are lucky to have us. And that's it.
While it's great to stay optimistic, it's even more helpful to remain realistic and acknowledge things as they actually are.
You mean like live in reality? I mean, I don't think that's going to be an option for a lot of these women. So apparently dudes just have to, you know, they have to do everything for you. Why? Because you're the prize. Now, we don't talk, again, we don't make any sort of note about what men might consider to be the prize, what men might be interested in. It's just, no, I'm a woman. You need to bow down to me because I'm superior than you. I'm superior to you for whatever reason. There's never in these videos, guys, is it like, yeah, I'm a great catch for a man because I can cook, I can clean, I'm pleasant, I haven't been with a whole bunch of dudes, I'm not a single mother, I'm not divorced. They don't mention any of those sorts of things. It's always like, men need to accept me the way I am because I'm fantastic and because it's the role of a man, apparently.
Instead of living in a Disney-like fantasy where everything is ideal, she should consider stepping back into reality to see what others are already doing.
Yeah, she's not going to do that.
Many women have caught on to the shifts in the dating scene, and they are actively approaching. With men not being as forward in initiating things as they once were, more women are taking initiative and making the first move. If finding a partner is truly her goal, it might be wise for her to consider doing the same. Simply sitting back and declaring oneself a prize won't make much of an impact in today's dating landscape. We won't be lining up solely because someone calls herself a prize. Actions tend to speak louder than words. The expectation that we will chase indefinitely has also shifted. While men may show initial interest, most will move on quickly if they sense a lack of effort or see disinterest from the other side.
Yeah, and you know why this is, by the way? So I've seen women complain about this too, you know, when men, quote unquote, give up the chase. But let's be real about it. A lot of the women, what happened to no means no? You know, you said you weren't interested. You said, hey, don't, you know, no means no if a woman tells you no. And so dudes have said, okay, not a problem. I'm going to listen to you. No means no, right? So I'm going to stop pursuing you. The moment you demonstrate a lack of interest in me or you say no to something, I'm out of there. And again, apparently this is a problem too, guys, you know, because we're supposed to continue approaching, we're supposed to continue to talk to them after they've demonstrated that they're not interested in us. But I'm sorry, I thought this was, you know, against the rules, so to speak. They just bend and twist the rules of what they find appropriate and inappropriate all of the damn time. So dudes have gone, you know what, screw the whole thing, man. I'm completely out of this. And again, I don't blame the dudes for doing this whatsoever.
We prefer investing in someone who's willing to match our energy and show mutual interest. The funny part was when she was questioning why some women are chasing men. It's clear that she hasn't grasped why this is happening. It might be because she is still new to today's dating scene and hasn't fully experienced the dynamics at play. Give it a few more months, and she may be posting a follow-up video talk about her experience after being rejected.
I mean, you know what? So many of these women do this, by the way. So they go out there and they make these sorts of videos saying how like dudes need to approach them and all of this nonsense and, you know, they're the prize and they're this and they're that. And then what happens is they rock around to like 30 years of age. And then all of a sudden their whole tune seems to change, guys. You know, it's like, oh, things got a little bit more difficult for them. I don't really... They're like, what happened? All of the attention's drying up. You know, Chad no longer wants to sleep with me. The average men don't want relationships with me anymore because I've completely used and abused them this entire time. What happened here, guys? I'm the victim in this situation. And that, guys, makes for some absolutely hilarious content. But you know what, guys? I think we are going to be leaving today's episode there. So as always, guys, don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. What do you think about men no longer approaching women? Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.